Hi, this is Brad Mehldau, and I'm here in the Nonesuch library, and here to just pick a few records that were very important to me as an artist. Before I was on Nonesuch, before I came to New York City, someone that I discovered who would become a big influence on me as a piano player and as an artist more generally, as a maker of beauty and the sublime, is the pianist Richard Goode, who has a bunch of amazing records on Nonesuch. The one I'm thinking of for here is a recording of Brahms's Klavierstücke, specifically Opus 76, 116 and 119. That was the introduction to Brahms's, to these short, incredible piano pieces that he wrote. There's one in particular from Opus 76, the intermezzo in B-flat major, that's just sublime. I guess his performance, it's the pacing, it's the attention to the phrasing, it's just the simpatico he has with Brahms's kind of romanticism, which is a more understated kind of romanticism. And the lineage where it's coming from with Beethoven, and this beautiful, he brings so much knowledge to that music. Here is another record that includes Richard Goode as an accompanist with the singer Don Upshaw, just such a beautiful, special voice, interpreter of text. This is all Goethe lieder, some Schumann pieces, Schubert, Hugo Wolf, and Mozart as well, settings of Goethe's poetry. And the one that really just drives me crazy is a setting of the Mignon's Song, which is a poem in Wilhelm Meister's apprenticeship from Goethe, his Bildungsroman, the first Bildungsroman, of this Mignon character who is talking about the land that she's traveled from and far away, and remembering it with this very strong feeling of Sehnsucht and longing. And it's such an incredible example of Schumann's kind of unbridled romanticism and kind of ecstasy. And the way they play it together and hit that on these climaxes that happen 3 times in the piece, but don't go too crazy and bombastic. It's just an incredible performance. It was my introduction to a lot of this lieder. The Schubert settings as well are just incredible. Just a really great record. Goethe lieder, Richard Goode, Don Upshaw. Cast recording, The Light in the Piazza, Adam Guettel. When this came out and when it was on Broadway, it was such a moment for musical theater. I am not a big musical theater person, not as knowledgeable of it as other people, but this music really resonated with me purely as a musician, as a harmonist, and as a melodist. Adam's gift is really very unique. Bringing something to the language of what we call American songbook, whether that's Rodgers Hammerstein, Gershwin, and then really departing and doing something new in the way he wrote the orchestrations. There's so many, 2 of my favorite ones on this are certainly the climactic fable that's at the end. But as well, what's really cool on this, and if people, so they can't miss it, is this demo recording of him singing and playing guitar of a kind of rough version, but just a perfect performance of Dividing Day, which is this very melancholy, beautiful tune. He's not singing the lyrics, and what you hear in that performance is just the music itself, the way he's thinking about the melody and the way he might phrase it as a singer, which leads me to say I would love to hear a record of Adam Guettel interpreting other people's music, whether it would be Elliott Smith or the Beatles or Nirvana or more Gershwin or whatever, and singing, because he just has this beautiful expressive voice as a singer in his own right. The Light in the Piazza. Kronos Quartet performs Alfred Schnittke, the complete string quartets. This is wild, wild music. Schnittke is a composer who, in his lifetime, dipped into different genres. He got into kind of the serialism and the more intellectual composition that was going on mid-20th century. But he also had this unbridled, crazy, very emotional and tonal kind of music that he wrote. I would point the listener to the second string quartet that's on here. The whole quartet is amazing. The second movement of it, which I think is, I forget what it's called, agitato. It's crazy. It's like Beethoven, Opus 131, presto movement on steroids, freaking out, ecstasy, incredible music, really exciting. And Kronos, a quartet that has made their legacy through recording music like this, a lot of music that might be overlooked, that you might miss, and then giving it a very very strong performance that's emblematic of, I think Schnittke would be happy with this recording of his string quartets. Alfred Schnittke, Kronos Quartet, the complete string quartets. Darcy James argues, Secret Society, Dynamic, Maximum Tension. I just got to hear, basically, he did this record in a performance in Big Ears Festival in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was amazing live, and I was really excited to hear. So, Darcy James argue, yes, think big band and moving that forward in a new way, but also just think composer, subtle harmonist, arranger, in a way that just, when I hear it, it's just speaking to me in all these different ways. So many different streams coming together. Really, the track on here that's unbelievable. They're all great, and there's a lot of big ideas behind them. There's a political component, which is great. And the one that's it's sort of a very large-scale piece is the second to last piece on this double disc. It's called Tensile Curves. Just beautiful music. Takes you on a journey, kind of epic music. Darcy James argues, Secret Society, Dynamic, Maximum Tension. Check out that long track, Tensile Curves. Sit down and let it come to you. It's a great piece.